In case you're new here, here's how it works. I'm not so good anymore about responding to your comments on the computer, but we have something called a comment stray. So there's a good chance you leave a comment and it ends up here, it becomes its own video, which is the exact case for a video I made a while back called Receding Hairline, Propecia Side Effects. Really? That was the name of it. Now, the person who left me a comment, I would typically read the screen name or whatever, but I can't because it appears to be in Hebrew. I am not able to read Hebrew, so I cannot pronounce the name of the person who did this. But here's an excerpt of what they had said. Quote, "Your point of view is a masculine, straight, married man, and I am gay. So I do support Propecia since for a gay guy, losing his hair is a disaster." End quote. All right, I think this is interesting and new and fresh for the content of my YouTube channel, which is basically about dealing with hair loss and processing what goes along with it. It's interesting, and it's an absolute coincidence because this is completely unrelated to the video I did just last week when I proposed the thought that as straight men who are losing our hair, that we are focused on what physically that what we deem as physically attractive in ourselves and apparently other men, as if we're trying to attract other men, when really, as I feel that I've done a good job of interviewing females, it's never on their top 10. And people say, well, they're not honestly answering. Yeah, but ultimately they make it very clear what does matter. They always know straight away what to go to as far as what they find attractive. So this is interesting timing, just, you know, what, probably less than a week later. And it's funny because in that video last week, I said, of the thousands of comments I've received in the videos that I've made, I've never once had anyone comment say, I'm gay, and, well, I had just said that. Well, finally we have that, and I appreciate that because this is something I actually genuinely want to understand better. You know, this specific thing our Hebrew friend had said was, since for a gay guy, losing his hair is a disaster. Okay, you're right. I cannot relate. Help me understand. You know, help us all understand. How is it worse for a gay guy to be losing his hair more so than a, as you call me, masculine, straight, married man? How is it more of a disaster for you? And I get it about the married thing. I mean, I'm obviously settled in my life in that way, but let's say I wasn't married. Let's say I was just straight and masculine and, you know, experiencing hair loss. How is it more of a disaster for someone who's gay than straight? And this isn't, you know, like a debate. This is me asking because I don't understand what is meant by that comment, and I want to understand, you know, culturally, psychologically, what makes it more difficult for someone who is gay and not married and not masculine. I want to understand that. Now, the closest I've come to understanding this, because I do find this a fascinating, intriguing topic. I really do. There's on Netflix, there is a documentary, and it's called Do I Sound Gay? And if you see the icon on Netflix, it has like a guy with a shaved head, and he's got like his tongue sticking out, but it's like a rainbow tongue. I've watched this documentary a while back, and it's interesting because the protagonist, the narrator of the documentary, I don't ever think he comes out and says it, but he shaves his head because I don't think he has any hair on top, and he shaves it. Like, there's part of the montage that even shows him shaving his head in the morning, like, as part of his, you know, get up and go routine before he leaves the house. So it's interesting because there's on Netflix, and again, it's called Do I Sound Gay? There exists a documentary in which the narrator and protagonist is a gay man who shaves his head because he's bald, and who is exploring the concept that gay men typically have what's called a gay accent. And he explains that and talks about that, whereas typically straight men talk a certain way, typically gay men have a certain way that they speak. And he explores that, and I appreciate it because I think we're all aware of it, but it makes it that much more legitimate to understand when someone who is gay is talking about that. Now, something he specifically talks about in the documentary, and again, I'm learning from him on this, he was saying how that a lot of gay men are easily attracted to masculine gay men. Now see, that's interesting because we may not think about this very often, but my Hebrew friend here says that I am a masculine straight guy. That's to imply that there are men who are straight and that are not masculine. I agree with that. And it's also to imply that there are gay men who are masculine. I agree with that too. I think what the norm is straight men are masculine and that gay men are, and I don't want to say not masculine, but I'm just going off these notes. I'm just trying to understand because I don't want to stereotype. But I think if the norm is that this whole concept of being masculine and not, he's saying he's not. So this is me just trying to sort this out and not sound like someone who's stereotyping, but just basing it off of this note alone and basing it off the documentary called Do I Sound Gay? Because again, the whole plot of this is he's wanting to not talk like he's gay. He's wanting to talk like a masculine gay guy. He's saying that if you are gay and you come across as masculine, you talk masculine, then you're more attractive as a gay guy. So that's the whole point of this. And again, at the same time, he's also bald. Now, he never brings it up, to what I remember, he never brings it up or talks about it. But it makes me wonder now if it's a more attractive trait among gay men to talk masculine and have the more masculine way of speaking. Then at the same time, does it matter more that you have hair? It's interesting because I would have never thought about that. What I would have assumed is, well, something we've talked about a lot on this on my video channel is that I think for a lot of people, when they see a man with a shaved head, that's automatically more masculine than a guy with a hair. Like shaved head, that is a very masculine thing. So I never questioned that gay men would find another man more attractive because he has more hair. I just thought if the whole concept of more gay men are attracted to more of the masculine concept, like the masculine gay, if that was the case, then sure, a bald head, that's not going to be a disadvantage at all. Now, as you're watching this video, surely I've said some things that wouldn't fly on Twitter. But I'm not claiming to know anything. I am claiming to not understand this, and I'm claiming to only know what I know based on the comment I received and the documentary on Netflix, Do I Sound Gay? So, this is me being confused, not declaring any authority, not understanding, and trying to figure it out. So what I am ultimately trying to figure out, I guess, is this. How is being gay and losing your hair more of a disaster than if you're straight? I guess is really probably what I'm trying to figure out. But because I don't know, is that to imply that gay men are more attracted to men with hair and not bald guys? Because that seems to be a double standard. If gay men are more attracted to men with that talk straight instead of have the gay accent or whatever, it just seems like a double standard. So I don't know. And probably by now you're looking on Netflix, oh, Do I Sound Gay? Let me watch this. Because it was such an interesting point of view that I was not aware of. So I'm open-minded. I want to understand this. I am fascinated by the concept that if you're gay, like how that your perception of being bald is different than someone who's straight. So help me understand it. Let's discuss it. Teach me.